This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio. Matt Allen is out today. He's doing some a little bit of parts research, going out to see a parts vendor. So it's me today, and on Bumper to Bumper Radio, we are helping you, the motoring public, have a better overall car experience. So if you got car questions, we've got answers. So we encourage you to give us a call at 602-277-5827. 602-277-KTAR. You can also text your car questions to 411-923, and I'm still saying we, because even though Matt is out, I've got John Riggle, our lead diagnostician at Tri-City Transmission, in to help me help you with your car. So today we're going to do a little bit of fact or fiction in regard to air condition in your vehicle, open phones and texts, of course. In air-conditioned service, John, it's getting to be that time of year where air-conditioned service is a big deal. I always like to ask you these questions because you've been doing this a long time.
Oh, no. Here we go.
Well, how has air-conditioned service changed from the good old days? What is the biggest thing that's changed that you would say? I mean, the modern car, even go back 20 years.
Yeah, air conditioners have got better. They work better.
They work way better.
They work better. The only issue that we have is the system capacity's got smaller. So leaks are kind of a bigger issue. Systems used to leak more, but now because the systems are so much smaller, small leaks are a bigger percentage of the refrigerant in the system. So it got a little more precise and a little tougher to find really small leaks that can make a difference in systems. So.
Well, we were walking in the elevator, and I talked about the $24 air-conditioned service, and my comment was, you don't get nothing for that, and that's not a real deal. And then we started talking more, and some of these $24 services, if someone's really doing that for you, can be a good deal because maybe you're not having a problem with your air condition. And Carrie was mentioning before the show that there's somebody advertising is every year you should evacuate and recharge your air conditioning system, and you said, not necessarily.
Yeah, I'm a little leery about that, unfortunately. That's probably not a really good idea.
Probably not. So if you know you have an air conditioning problem, I wouldn't expect to go into a shop for $24.95 and get things fixed.
Yeah, exactly.
So what a $24.95, we'll do one at Tri-City Transmission, okay?
Yeah.
What a $24.95 air conditioning check. You're not really having a problem, but you just want to check that out. We're going to check the cabin filter. We're going to mechanically look at the belt that runs the AC compressor and the tensioner. We're going to do a visual leak inspection. You can see leaks because that refrigerant has oil in it. You'll see oil coming out where there's a leak.
Yep.
So we visually check for leaks. We'll throw a temperature gauge inside the vent to see the outlet vent temperatures, and then we'll do a function test. And what's a function test, John?
That's when I check to make sure that all the actuators and the doors move properly. When we command it to the floor, the air's got to come out of the floor. When we command it to the vents out of the dash, it's got to come out of the dash. It has to come out of the defroster. We want to make sure the recirc doors work.
Okay, so a functionality test. So airflow is a big part of the deal. The cooling system of the vehicle for the engine. If that's not working right, the air conditioning's not going to work right.
Absolutely.
So that's a big deal. Also the cooling fans. The cooling fans coming on. So we want to make sure that's working. And then, one of the things that happens on cars, you get this new car, and the first thing you do is you pull over a curb. And this one has a little lower front end, and the last one, it goes, and you go, that didn't sound good. And then when you back up, that little piece of rebar that's sticking out of that bumper just rips the air dam up underneath the car off. And so now it's dragging on the ground, so you swing by the auto shop and they just tear that thing off. They go, I get that fixed at some point. Well, you forget about it. Well, now your air conditioner is half as efficient as it used to be because they changed the airflow through that radiator and through that condenser for the air conditioner. So air dams, we look for that. So that would be what you're getting for a $24.95 AC service. There's not a ton going on, but some of the basic stuff, you're not having a problem. But we wouldn't necessarily subscribe to evacuate and recharge every year.
No.
Why would you say that?
We wind up with issues trying to maintain the proper oil balance in the system. Every time you evacuate the system, you pull a little bit of oil out of it, and it's not a very accurate measurement when you measure what you took out. So you can wind up with issues where the system doesn't have the proper amount of oil in it, and that can cause issues down the road.
Okay, so that isn't necessarily a thing. So now there comes a point where, you do need to, let's say there is a leak, and the system is low on charge, and now we're talking about not a $24 AC service. And a lot of people, this is kind of a they're assuming if you got something wrong with your car, they're going to get you to come in. Maybe you need a compressor, so they're going to offer you this really cheap AC service, and that makes them sell you something to pay for their time.
Yeah.
So I'm not a big believer on that. A good air conditioned service can cost anywhere between $150 and $250, and anywhere in between. And what's that? What would you describe on that? So not only the things we just talked about, but in that case, we're going to do what? Evacuate and recharge.
Evacuate and recharge the system. And,
In evacuate and recharge, so people understand who are listening, it's a sealed refrigerant system. So we're sucking it down until it's under vacuum. And then we're going to go ahead and recharge it. We're going to scale the refrigerant in so we can get the exact charge right on the money.
Right. And what you're going to look at is the amount you took out versus what the specification for the refill is. That gives you an idea how much has leaked out of the system over a period of time. All systems will leak a little bit of refrigerant over a period of time. The newer systems are sealed fairly well, but you'll lose a little bit out of the system. And you want to be careful about trying to you don't want to continually try to top the systems off. There's no topping systems off anymore.
In the old days, we used to, when a Suburban held 16 pounds of Freon.
Yeah, you don't get to do that anymore. We're talking about systems with less than a pound of refrigerant in it, and there's no room for error there. You can be off by 10% and the system won't cool. So you got to be right on the money there.
Okay, so a good AC service where they do an evacuate and recharge, that's kind of the price range. Because I know it's that time of year where you're starting to turn your air conditioner on, or maybe been turning it on and you're like, it's kind of cool right now, but, it's only 80 degrees out today.
Yeah.
When it's 90 degrees out, when it's 100 degrees out, when it's 110 degrees out, you're going to really know how well your AC system doesn't work.
Yeah.
But otherwise, for right now, it seems to be cool. But it's better to handle it now in the milder months for a couple reasons. Shops aren't slam busy with AC repair. I'd rather go to a shop. I don't want to. When a shop is slammed busy, I want to catch them in those comfortable months where they're happy. They don't mind working on the car because it's not 110 degrees in the shop. So you want happy mechanics. So this is a good time to get your air condition looked at. So if the car's 1, 2, 3, 4 years old, the AC service may be that $24 thing if everything's working good and you don't think you have a problem. Now, if the car's 5 years old and it's not working good. You're going to have to get an AC service. And sometimes you may come into us and say, hey, I need a $24 AC checkup. We may look at it and say, no, you actually need a full AC service. We do an evacuate and recharge.
Yeah, and you have to understand, too, that a lot of the newer systems are computer controlled. So a lot of times that additional service involves hooking a scan tool up and looking at you can actually watch the pressures and temperatures of the inlets and outlets with the scan tool on a lot of the newer cars. So a lot of that's important. So we step into doing a little bit more on the diagnostic side there.
And it's changed a little bit. You said, in the old days you could look at pressures and know how well a system's working, but now you got these compressors that are variable volume
displacement. Yeah, you can't tell.
You can't tell. Yeah. So they're getting more complex than they used to be, but they certainly work a whole lot better.
Oh, yeah.
And there's some cars where even on the best day, man, they don't make it very cool.
There's some air conditioners that are better than others.
My wife had an 02 Grand Cherokee in 2002, and it had a lot of glass, and at the end of the day, if that thing would sunbake, it literally would take you a half an hour worth of driving before you started to feel cool, even though the system was in good shape.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping her new system is better. She's got a new Grand Cherokee. I'm hoping it's better than the last one as far as AC goes. It's so subjective because to some people, my wife, when she goes to movie theater, she takes a jacket with her. I'm like, it's hot out. I can't wait to go freeze in the, and I turn the AC on full blast. It doesn't matter if I'm going on a 3-hour drive; it never comes off of full blast.
So that's where dual zone air conditioners.
Oh yeah, his and hers.
Absolutely.
Well, there's different problems in the air conditioning system to help you. The thing we spent this time talking about was the refrigerant levels, but there's more to it. There's the airflow issues, and we just did a Trailblazer in our shop, and a total of 5 actuators. These are little electric motors that open and close doors, in order to mix hot and cold air, in order to move it from the feet to the vents on the dash up to the defrost. And we had to pull the whole dashboard out of that car in order to change out 2 of those motors. And the motors themselves were probably 60, 70, 80 bucks a piece.
Yeah.
But it was the full day's time to take the dashboard out, put it all back in, all that type of stuff. So we got airflow issues, we got refrigerant issues, we also have control issues. So your air conditioner may not be working. It could be just a matter of a bad pressure switch, not working right.
Yeah.
Sometimes we see control. There's an HVAC controller, that we can talk to with our scanners. There's a lot of pieces there. So in the old days, you just assume it was low on refrigerant. That was pretty simple. Yeah. Throw some more juice in there, make that thing work again. And I remember my dad pulling out the 1 can and a short little 12-inch hose or whatever, and just plug that thing in, and that's just what you did.
Oh yeah.
Those days are long since
Those days are gone. Yeah.
And the other thing, if you are getting a major AC repair, some people are getting a new condenser, a new compressor, all that stuff. I'm a big fan of buying good parts. And what I mean by that is if there's a perfectly good compressor that you can buy from Honda or from General Motors, something like that, or even from their original equipment supplier, that's fine. I'm not a big fan of some of these aftermarket, cheap compressors that, even at their best, aren't going to work great, but they only last 2 years.
They only last 2 years, and that's a big dollar item.
Absolutely.
No matter how you slice it.
So you're not happy to spend the money the first time. You're certainly not going to be happy to spend it the second time. So when we come back, we've got open lines at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. And I know there's a ton of people out there driving that have air-conditioned questions and comments and all that stuff. So give us a call. We'll see if we can walk you through them. You listen to Bumper to Bumper Radio. Matt and I share car repair tips weekly to help you keep your car safely on the road, and a few of them are easy to do.
Yep, you're right, Dave. And one of the easiest is to have a dependable battery that you can trust to get you started no matter what the conditions.
Interstate batteries are what we trust at Bumper to Bumper Radio. In fact, they're what we use at our own shops for our customers.
If you're like most people, your car is one of your most valuable investments. Make sure you take care of that investment with the power necessary to get you where you need to be. Interstate batteries are America's #1 replacement brand with the factory fresh guarantee, and they're easy to find at good shops everywhere.
Cars or trucks, Interstate has you covered with long life and performance in our harsh desert climates with products like Megatron Plus. It carries a 30-month free replacement and a 6-year performance guarantee.
Interstate batteries. No battery lasts longer. Check them out at interstatebatteries.com.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and Bumper to Bumper Radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
Hi, I'm Kurt Morgan, owner of Shadow Mountain Auto Service in Phoenix. I'm also a college automotive instructor, and I've been a technician for over 30 years. In that time, I've seen all kinds of games and gimmicks in the auto repair business, the worst of which seems to be associated with transmissions. I think it's because, to most, including technicians, the inside of a transmission is a mystery. So when one of our valued customers has a transmission problem, we send them straight to Tri-City Transmission. No games, no gimmicks. That's Tri-City Transmission.
Born to be wild.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio. Matt Allen from Virginia Auto Service is out of town, so I've got John Riggle in with me to help you with your car. Today is the lovely topic of air condition, and you may not think you have a problem with air condition, but when it's not 80 degrees but it's 95 degrees, you're going to know you got a problem with your air conditioner.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, we've got Bob, Steve, and Eric in a couple open lines at 602-277-5827. And we're going to go with Bob in Phoenix. He's got a Hyundai. I think he called the show here a number of weeks back, and I think we told him, go back to the dealer, see what they say, and let's see what Bob has to say. Hey, Bob, are you there?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. I vaguely remember our phone call conversation, but tell us what happened.
Okay, I went to the dealer on that coming Monday, and they found that the valve was intermittently working, or the compressor, and at 19 ohms, I guess it was dropping out. So they put the valve in, put on the repair order, and this is all warranty work. That's why I'm at the dealer. And they say it's blowing cold. I get in the car, and this is like late in the day because I hung out there. It's blowing like the heat's on, so I looked at make sure I didn't have the heat on twice, and it's blowing hotter than ever. So I took it back 2 days later, and it turns out, I told them this clue, this is the fourth time I'm there, that I'm finding myself driving faster to get the air cold, which is a big clue. So it turns out they replaced the radiator fan that's out there. They replaced a resistor and also an inline fuse of 40 amp. I guess they really didn't know where the problem was, so they just did it all since it's the fourth time there. But it's blowing like ice finally.
Oh, man, I'm glad they're able to resolve that for you. And these things are not always clear-cut, so sometimes you can have a multitude of problems, and you come to one and you fix it, and you're like, oh, we got it, right? And then they give it back to you, and then there's something else going on.
I have two questions, though.
Sure.
When they first did it in July, the Freon was 0.8, and it should be 1.16 to 1.27. Can that ruin a compressor?
John?
Yes and no. Over a long period of time, it's possible that a slight undercharge can. The oil in the system is carried by the refrigerant and distributed through the system by the refrigerant. So a slight undercharge is not good. The charge should be accurate. What you have to be careful with is when you do a recover, if they don't allow sufficient time to do the recover, they may not recover absolutely every bit that's in the system. So you could miss by an ounce if you didn't take your time and really sit on it. So that's a little light, though.
What was your other question, Bob?
Okay. Another thing. I said, oh, well, I still have a leak in the system. He goes, well, this is the fourth time it's in there. Now he's telling me this because in July of last year it was low. He goes, oh, it's not uncommon to see the factory not charging him up all the way. Do you think there's any truth to that statement?
Very little.
Yeah,
that's all. That's an automated process.
I'm not buying that. Thanks for the call, Bob. 602-277-5827. We're going to go with Steve in Phoenix. He's got a 2012 Kia Optima. How can we help you, Steve? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio. Hey,
hi, it's actually James, by the way.
All right, James. How can we help you?
I have a 2012 Kia Optima, and I had a problem last year where, it was like 120 degrees outside, and my car's fairly new, so, as I'm driving the car, the AC blows, just fine. It's cold. But every time, I hit the traffic on the I-10 and I slow down, it gets to like a lukewarm temperature. And I took it into the dealership, and they said that it was working just fine, but I'm not exactly sure what's going on. I was wondering if you guys could probably enlighten me on that.
Yeah, I think right off the bat, John, I think if we got a light charge, we're not gonna cool very well. That's a possibility. Maybe he's going to the same dealership the other guy went to, so you never know.
Yeah.
I mean, they may not be hitting it right, but I'm thinking of cooling fans.
I was thinking cooling fans. He mentioned the stop and go traffic and some deficiency there on the condenser side.
And these cooling fans are variable volume as well. I mean, I've seen there 2-3 speeds on these cooling fans, so you can look at one and see it running, but it may not be pulling enough air.
Yeah.
I had on my Honda Element back when I had one of those. I had a cooling fan that I was like, yeah, it looks like it's working fine. But as soon as I replaced it, I got a ton more air through it, and it was working a whole lot better. So when you're going on the freeway, you got plenty of air pressure, air being driven through the radiator and the condenser. When you're sitting at a stoplight, that goes away. And also your low charge is going to show up there. So even though the car's about 5 years old, it may be starting to get to the point where some of that stuff is popping up.
Yeah.
So thanks for the call, 602-277-5827. We're going to go with, it looks like Jana in Phoenix. Looks like she's got a Dodge Charger. How can we help you, Jana? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hi. I'm actually calling about my father-in-law's vehicle. He's got a Dodge Charger, and recently as he decelerates, anytime they apply the brakes, the fan motor changes, and it makes a weird clicking sound. It's almost like the shutters of the vents. Potentially. I'm just wondering if it's maybe one of those motors that you mentioned about the internal.
Is this a noise you're hearing on the inside of the car or out under the hood?
Inside.
Inside the car, yeah.
I mean, I've only heard it on the phone speaking with her as we're driving, talking together, but yeah.
Yeah, if it happens when they're stepping on the brakes and slowing the car down, there's probably something caught in the blower motor, or we've got some bearings going bad in the we call it a squirrel cage. The actual fan in that motor assembly is actually hitting one of the housings or something. It's a fairly easy project to get a blower motor out and to physically take a look at it, or use a bore scope and go in through one of the ducts and take a look there and see if there isn't something hidden in there.
Is there actually squirrels in there driving that?
No. That's just what we call it.
It's the technical term for a double inlet Ford curve fan.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
So anyhow, it's one of the things that comes up is cabin filters. Cabin filters kind of have their place, but kind of not.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
We were talking about that before the show. But one nice thing about cabin filters, I think it tends to keep the leaves out of that blower motor.
Yeah.
You'll get a leaf in a blower motor, and it's kind of stuck to one side, so it puts a vibration in the dashboard.
Yeah, but I've seen that plenty often, too, where guys haphazardly pull the cabin filter out and drop the leaves in there when they pull them out. You have to be careful. You got to watch when you do that.
Yeah, in the old days, we didn't have cabin filters. It was never a need, and we're talking before the show. I like them because I think they keep the coil cleaner.
Absolutely.
And so that's nice, because once you get a coil that's dirty, the only way you're cleaning it out is to pull that thing out and clean it, and that's not happening.
Yeah.
So I do like it for that, but they get ignored. I mean, I've literally had them come in where we pull the cabin filter out. There is so many leaves and so much garbage. These people need to do a little yard maintenance to protect their air conditioning system. So when we come back, we're taking phone calls. Today we're talking about air conditioning, but we're not married to it. If you got something else you want to talk about, 602-277-5827, 602-277 KTAR. You're listening to Bumper Radio.
It sounds like they've just had the accurate automotive experience. We're family-owned and operated and have served the Mesa, Tempe, Gilbert communities for over 22 years. We focus on building long-lasting relationships and, listening to you so that we can understand, meet, and exceed your expectations. One location, 14 bays, 88 years of automotive expertise, and a passionate commitment to customer service and excellence. My name is Lee Weatherby, and I approve this message because it's true. We love what we do, and we want to do it for you. Accurate Automotive, the home of friends serving friends.
Hi, Lisa Henry with Russ Lyon Sotheby's International Realty. Have you been thinking maybe the time is right to move, but you're not sure if you have enough equity in your home or if it really is a good time? Well, home values have increased significantly over the past few years, and interest rates are still historically low. For how long? No one knows. But for every 1% increase in the interest rate, the result is about a 10% loss in purchasing power. So it might be a really great time to sell your home and either upsize or downsize to a new home while the interest rates are still low. Contact me via my website at lisareneehenry.com or direct at 480-330-9530 for a no-obligation market valuation on your home and to hear about our global online marketing plan designed to sell your home quickly for top dollar. Again, that's lisareneehenry.com, 480-330-9530. Come experience the difference a truly customer-focused real estate agent can make.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A+ rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20+ years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
KTAR-FM, Glendale, Phoenix. KTAR News on 92.3 FM, Arizona's news station. KTAR, on air, 92.3 FM, online at KTAR.com, and streaming live on the KTAR News app. Your breaking news and traffic now.
Good morning. It's 11:30. I'm Tom Perumian. Here's our top story. Much of the international community rallying behind the Trump administration's action in Syria. ABC's Alex Marquardt has more reaction.
There was swift and fierce reaction from Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. This strike was widely praised by Assad's enemies like Israel. The main reaction that we now have to watch is Russia's.
After the attack, Russia called it an example of U.S. aggression. Thousands of opponents of President Nicolas Maduro have poured into the streets of Caracas, Venezuela today as part of a week-long protest movement showing little sign of losing steam. The nation has been rocked with unrest since the Supreme Court of Venezuela dissolved the legislature, then reversed its decision. The White House is praising Neil Gorsuch following his confirmation as the next Supreme Court justice. President Donald Trump says in a statement that Gorsuch's judicial temperament and exceptional intellect, also his unparalleled integrity and record of independence, will make him the perfect choice to serve on the court. Now let's get a check on traffic. Here's Mike Daniels in the RMEGold.com Traffic Center.
Thanks, Tom. Loop 101 eastbound just west of State Route 51. We have a crash moved off right. Heavy backup in the area, so expect some delays. And we got a crash partially blocking the off-ramp on the 10 westbound at 67th Avenue, and a vehicle fire at Roosevelt and 32nd Street. This report brought to you by the PGA Superstore. Shop like a pro at the PGA Tour Superstore in Glendale, located at the northeast corner of 75th Avenue and Bell Road, where you'll find the best deals on the largest selection of golf and tennis equipment, apparel, and footwear. I'm Mike Daniels, KTAR News.
These clouds are going to be hanging around for the next few days. We'll see temps pushing into the 80s today, the 70s tomorrow. Right now, 79 degrees on the Salt River in Phoenix. Weather brought to you by Howard Air. I'm Tom Perumian on Arizona's news station, KTAR News.
Golf fans, Bunker to Bunker, the golf show's charity golf tour is back. We kick off our 2017 season at the spectacular Wickenburg Ranch Golf and Social Club on Sunday, April 30th for our two-man scramble benefiting the Folds of Honor Foundation. Tourney includes lunch, prizes, and a bounce-back gift, all for just $99. This is the golf course that everyone is raving about. Space is limited and this event always sells out quickly. So grab your partner and register today. For more information, registration, and 2017 event calendar, go to bunkergolf.com.
Hi, I'm Dave Riccio, owner of Tri-City Transmission. Well, you may have come to know us for being a transmission expert. What you may not know is that our customers regularly ask us why we don't perform repairs to the rest of the vehicle. You guys are so great. Why work on just the transmission? Well, the requests became hard to ignore, and 3 years ago, we began to build an infrastructure to perform general automotive repair. We weren't going to do general repair if we couldn't be great at it. So in 2013, we began the soft opening of Tri-City Auto Repair on Smith Road. We brought on ASE Master Technicians to work side by side with our Master Transmission Technicians. The combination of the best in both of these trades has created a synergy that allows us not only to fix your transmission, but to service and repair your whole car, and to do it well. Let's face it, the modern car has become so integrated. We believe all of our expert knowledge puts us ahead of the curve. Find us at TriCityTransmission.com or TempeAutoRepairShop.com. That's TempeAutoRepairShop.com.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and bumper-to-bumper radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
Yeah! Wow, that's pretty good, Carrie. Are you responsible for that? You guys worked that out together? Nice. You can almost make auto repair exciting with all that, you know? Sometimes auto repair sometimes misses a little sex appeal. Making auto repair sexy. Anyhow, welcome back to Bumper to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio. Matt Allen from Virginia Auto Service is out. So I brought in John Riggle from Tri-City Transmission and Auto Repair to help me. John has got all kinds of knowledge, and he's been doing this 40 years. And, the thing I like about John is he really likes what he's doing. It's exciting to him, and that kind of excitement is contagious. I find we run into problems, and I'm like, let's go figure this out. This is really cool. I haven't seen this one before. Yeah. So there's a lot of that goes on. But let me fill you in on what Bumper to Bumper Radio is. I mean, it's a radio show about you and the motoring public and helping you to have a better car experience. It's also attached to a network of auto shops that we feel are really, really good. These are shops that Matt and I would endorse and gladly send family to, friends to, anybody. These are shops where the owner's right there on, he's there in the shop. So if there's a problem, you don't have to go to a helpline and then you get kicked up to another helpline. Because in auto repair, let's face it, it's a complicated product. So there are things that can go wrong. But these are shops where no one's going to do you wrong. And auto repair is scary. Am I paying the right thing? These are shops where you'll get a relationship, and it takes away all that anxiety that goes with auto repair. And there's a lot of what I would call orphan customers. They just chase this coupon to that coupon, and this shop looks convenient. But they don't really have a relationship with anybody. No. We, as the auto shop, we have to learn you, learn your needs, learn how you like to fix things and which way you like to go to give you what's best for what you're asking for. If a shop doesn't know you, you may get bad results. And the other thing happens, too, is that sometimes one guy calls it a coolant flush and one guy calls it a radiator service. So you're going to pay for the same thing twice if you don't know better. Yeah, so you're going to get duplicate repairs by going to multiple shops. Yeah. So anyhow, we are taking calls at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. The other thing, Bumper to Bumper Radio, we may talk about something that you say, oh, yeah, what was that you guys were talking about 3 weeks ago? Well, you can go to our website, bumpertobumperradio.com. All the radio shows are up there. You can find our shows in the iTunes store or podcast. So they're there as well. Anyhow, we got to get to the calls. Looks like we're going to go with line one. I don't know who line one is, but we're going to try out line one. What can we do for you on line one? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio. Are you there?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on Bumper to Bumper Radio. How can we help you?
Hey, how you doing? I got a air conditioning question. So I have a 2006 Scion XB, and last year I did the can charge, with the bad gauge on it, and charged it up. The air wasn't working good still. Brought it into a local shop, and they said I overcharged it. So they did the vacuum recycle on it, evacuated the system, put the new stuff in. Well, it's still not working. But here's the concern. It works when I get to a red light or stop the car, it blows cold. I know it's kind of the opposite, as normal. Most people, you get up and speed, the air is blowing good. But in my car, when I get to a stop, it's blowing cold. Obviously, it sucks when you're driving along or on the highway. It's hot. So I don't know if you guys have any insight.
John, your face looks pregnant with thought. I can't tell if you have a thought or not.
Yeah.
He is backwards. He said it sucks, not blows. So maybe that's the problem.
There we go. There we go. Yeah, the first thing I'd be looking for, especially on one of those cars, is airflow issues.
Yeah, because that is the most unaerodynamic. Well, the element's right up there, too. It's like a toaster on wheels, right?
Yeah.
So
exactly. We want to make sure there's no restrictions around the condenser or anything like that,
Okay.
And make sure all the plastic shields underneath the car, it's not uncommon to rip the plastic shields off the bottom of those, and all of those shields need to be in place. And
I did just have a bunch of body work done, and all of that stuff was replaced. So that seems to be okay. My concern, I guess, was I thought that maybe by overcharging the system last summer that I ruined the compressor. Could that be the case, or... I mean, I could go to any shop and just say, let's replace the compressor, and that's still not work.
When you said you had body work done, was the front end actually in an accident where it was repaired?
I basically sucked up a big rig tire, and the lower, I don't know what you want to call it, but that lower fascia area was all damaged and ripped up, and that skid plate underneath, so they replaced all of that.
Okay. I have some concerns for that, and John and I were talking about that before the show, is that, I had a vehicle repaired, I had some body work done, and they took out my great factory Toyota compressor, and they put or a condenser, and they put in an aftermarket condenser which had about half the surface area, and my air conditioner was never the same. And so. In order, and especially on body shops, they're really being pinched hard by these insurance companies if they want the work. So they're gonna keep it as cost effective as possible, not necessarily based off the way they want to fix it, but they have to fix it the way the insurance company wants to fix it. So because you just had repairs there, because we're talking about an airflow issue, I think there's something going on there. We had a car that would overheat. It would only overheat on the freeway, and you know what? I got up underneath there and I looked, and there was that little 2-inch piece that was supposed to be underneath that front bumper cover, and that was enough to make that happen, just to change the airflow across that radiator. So I'm thinking we may have an airflow issue, and but I think for everybody listening, when you get these cars fixed or repaired, and I'll give you an example of a Honda CR-V. Everyone knows about the Honda CR-V, and the system gets trashed out because the compressor grenades, and it's hard to fix that system. You end up replacing a condenser. Well, don't put a cheap one in there. Yeah. Honda made a nice one, perfectly good one. I don't know why we have to go reinvent the wheel. Let's just put
the other thing you have to consider when the manufacturers build these cars, they account to the fourth decimal point. They already made it as cheap as they could make it. And still have it do the job. So there's not a lot of room to cut corners on these things.
Yeah, and that's one of the things they're doing. You're just cutting down materials. So anyhow, thanks for the call. If you don't have a good shop to get that Scion repaired at, you can go to bumpertobumperradio.com. There's a list of plenty of shops. I'm not sure what part of the value in, but there's someone there that can take care of you. And also, John, charging AC in the driveway. It's not really it's kind of a thing of the past, right?
Yeah.
But what I get nervous about is we got that fancy AC machine, and I get nervous. There's all kinds of additives and stuff that people are selling, and I just think it's like a contamination of my equipment.
Well,
so it scares the poop out of me.
Well, that and the fact there's refrigerants out there you can buy with sealers in them and stuff, and sealers have no business being in an air conditioning system. They can cause damage that will cost way more than it would have if you just got it fixed right the first time.
Yeah, no, for sure. So stay away from additives. I mean, there is some additives. We were talking BG makes a product.
Yeah, BG makes an oil additive that's probably okay, but as far as things like sealers and stuff like that, alternative refrigerants, no.
Right. Yeah. So there's not too many mechanics in a bottle that you can really purchase anymore. Yeah. I mean, they used to squeeze us in there.
Yeah.
But we wanted to spread our wings.
Yeah.
So anyhow, we've got David in Star Valley. He's got F250, and he wants to know where the heck his cabin filter is. And I'm trying to think if an F250 has a cabin filter on it. John, do you know?
Nope, doesn't have one.
Hey, Dave. Hey, how's it going?
It's going okay, except I don't feel good. But I'll get past that. It's a 2005 Lariat diesel four-wheel drive F250, and I wasn't sure. I went through the owner's manual and couldn't find anything about a cabin filter, but I'm real conscientious. I want to stay on top of everything.
Yeah, no, you're not going to have to worry about it. On that particular vehicle, they didn't equip it with a cabin filter, so you're good to go.
I now have 18,120 miles on the truck.
You're going to need to take that thing on a road trip, put some more miles on it. You need to come down. You need to come down and see us.
I know I do. I'm hoping to get you to buy lunch for me.
I'll buy you lunch. Absolutely. No, for sure.
Okay.
We always appreciate talking to you. Thanks, David. You have a great weekend. So anyhow, some cars, they don't have cabin filters.
Yeah.
Can you think of some other? I mean, F-150s don't have cabin filters, do they?
A lot of the GM SUVs don't.
No cabin filters.
No cabin filters in them. Yeah.
But a lot of your front-wheel drive sedans, cabin filters?
Yeah, the majority of them.
They have them.
And newer ones, yeah.
So anyhow, 602-277-5827 if you got an air conditioning question or anything related to your car or something, a repair you're thinking about, and maybe you're getting some sort of refund back. It's tax time, and you're like, I can either go buy that new guitar that I've been looking at.
I'd buy the guitar.
You'd buy the guitar.
Yeah.
But maybe there's a little bit of repair that you've been letting go on your car that you need to take care of, and you want to talk about that and where you should get it done. 602-277-5827. We got Michael and El Mirage we're going to take next, and we've got open lines. But, John, fact or fiction, leaving the air or having the air condition on wastes gas, so you can turn the air condition off, roll the windows down, and save fuel economy. Fact or fiction?
That's fiction.
That's fiction.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
Doesn't work.
Yeah.
Well, why not?
The air conditioner requires so little energy for the newer rotary compressors to operate that it's just a minimal loss. And then when you roll the windows down and you're going down the freeway, you just make a big air dam in the car.
Yeah,
you
you
put a
lost
whole bunch of drag there that wouldn't normally be there.
all that stuff the manufacturer did to make that car aerodynamic. As soon as you roll the windows down, that is all literally out the window, or in the window, is what we should be saying. So yeah, and the other thing is you're gonna lose friends, you know. Yeah. Because you can't smell your own stink.
Yeah. There you go.
Most people can't. So anyhow, we can come back. We got time for a couple more calls at 602-277-5827. You listen to Bumper Radio.
It sounds like they've just had the accurate automotive experience. We're family-owned and operated and have served the Mesa, Tempe, Gilbert communities for over 22 years. We focus on building long-lasting relationships and, oh yeah, listening to you so that we can understand, meet, and exceed your expectations. One location, 14 bays, 88 years of automotive expertise, and a passionate commitment to customer service and excellence. My name is Lee Weatherby, and I approve this message because it's true. We love what we do, and we want to do it for you. Accurate Automotive, the home of friends serving friends.
Matt and I share car repair tips weekly to help you keep your car safely on the road, and a few of them are easy to do. Yep, you're right, Dave, and one of the easiest is to have a dependable battery that you can trust to get you started no matter what the conditions. Interstate batteries are what we trust at Bumper to Bumper Radio. In fact, they're what we use at our own shops for our customers. If you're like most people, your car is one of your most valuable investments. Make sure you take care of that investment with the power necessary to get you where you need to be. Interstate batteries are America's #1 replacement brand with the factory fresh guarantee, and they're easy to find at good shops everywhere. Cars or trucks, Interstate has you covered with long life and performance in our harsh desert climates with products like Megatron Plus. It carries a 30-month free replacement and a 6-year performance guarantee. Interstate batteries. No battery lasts longer. Check them out at interstatebatteries.com.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A+ rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20-plus years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
I'm bringing sexy back. The mother boys don't know how to act.
All right, that's what we needed to bring sexy to auto repair. Otherwise, there's just nothing all that sexy about it. My wife finds the grease under my fingernails to be really sexy.
Ooh.
No, she doesn't. So anyhow, well, that was a little thing between Carrie and Bree right there. That was pretty interesting. For all of you who don't know, our producer here is Carrie Quinn, who helps keep us on point here at the show, and then Bree runs all the dials. And you'll actually hear Bree voice in commercials. She has a great radio voice, and her commercials sound fantastic. So anyhow, we got to get to the calls. We are going to go with Michael in El Mirage. Looks like he's got a 2012 Mazda 3. How can we help you, Michael? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Like what you're doing here.
Hey, cool. Thanks.
I have a 2012 Mazda Speed 3, so it's the turbo one, 6-speed manual transmission. So it's a manual transmission question. Basically, I heard a rattle whenever I put in the clutch, so I figured it was a throwout bearing issue. So I went and popped it open, took out the transmission, and replaced the throwout bearing, which was shredded inside there. Now, I went, put everything back on. I checked and got all the debris out I could find, and I still could not, I want to say it's either engage or disengage the clutch. I wasn't able to shift into gears, right, after I did that. Now, I replaced the clutch master cylinder and the slave cylinder while I was at it, and I just can't figure out what still might be the issue of why I can't shift into different gears, why I can't disengage the clutch.
Did you replace the clutch while you were doing that throwout bearing?
I did not replace the clutch.
Okay, so you just went in, you did the throwout bearing. there's something that's not quite together right. So when you can't shift gears, it means the clutch is not disengaging.
Yeah,
so
releasing.
clutches have two ways they fail. Either they fail to connect, which is when they're slipping, or they fail to disconnect, which is when they won't slide in each gear. So you can push it up against the gear. As soon as you turn the motor off, if it pops into gear all of a sudden real easily, that's because the clutch is not disengaging. So I'm afraid something may not be right there. The other thing, I mean, you had the problem before you replaced the hydraulics, and I think that slave cylinder is external, so I don't think you had to mess with that. So I'm leaning away from your hydraulics. It is possible you got an issue there, but we started out fixing a noise, so I think there's something there, whether the bearing's on the wrong side of the fork or something.
Or we've got something that got in between the disc and the pressure plate. If we had a piece get in between the disc and the pressure plate, any kind of shrapnel or anything like that, we also could have had, and that actually could have been part of your noise, could have been something that came apart, one of the damper springs or something inside the disc. The other possibility is I don't know if that one's actually got a pilot bearing or not.
Well, what happened was last night I went and I took the pressure plate off, right? So. And then I took off the clutch disc, and of course it's minimal. You know, there's not much clutch left in it, and I do need to replace that. But what happened was I was just calling to see if that would probably be the main issue, because I drove it after I replaced the throwout bearing the first time I took off the transmission, and then I just still couldn't shift back into gear. So is it just strictly you think the clutch disc is just done?
Well, yeah, if the clutch disc was done, we'd have more of a problem of it connecting. You know, if I'd be kind of worried about it there. I'd love to chat through that with you. It's going to be hard over the air because we got about 4 calls that we got to get to. So feel free to give me a call. I'd be happy to walk you through that on Monday. Call me at Tri-City Transmission. Google us. You'll find us online. I'd be more than happy to help you with that. So we got to get to these other calls. We've got Michelle in Florence. She's got an 05 Honda. How can we help you, Michelle? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hi, thank you. I have a minivan that the AC is no longer working. I was just wondering your thoughts on, we've got 2 quotes, and one's like for $1,200 and another one's for like $1,400. And even if we spend that much money on it, we don't know if it's really going to be fixing the issue, or maybe you could give some thoughts on, is it better to not spend that much money and we're thinking just buy a new minivan, a used minivan with less miles instead of putting so much money into.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do the math. I don't know how the rest of the car looks and all those things. And do we put this money in this car? If you've got a good van and all that's missing from it is the air condition, absolutely get it fixed. But what I'm afraid of is I don't want you to spend $1,200 and get a crap job, if I can say it that way, and then we got air conditioning that never really works right, but it still kind of functions. I want to make sure if you're going to spend that money that you spend it right. And there's people out there, they want to be competitive, they want to be the best price, so they'll cut, they'll use the cheap part versus a good Honda compressor.
There's another way to handle this too. When you're faced with a bill like that, have somebody look at the car and assess the car. There's every shop out there, they'll charge you a small fee for it, but they'll do what's equivalent to a buyer's inspection of the car. See what else the car needs. Look at it in the whole context and see if there's other things coming up that you're also going to have to spend money on.
And you don't know this, John, but we literally have a spreadsheet called Repair or Replace.
Yeah.
And it's repair the car or replace the car. And it's right on our website. And you can go in and calculate, are you going to need tires? Bang. This much money. Are you going to need this much money? And so you go through that, and because I'd hate to see you get rid of a perfectly good car to go get, the problems you already got. The devil you know is better than the devil you don't know.
Yeah.
So you could go get another car and be in the same boat and need to do an air conditioner repair. So I would definitely let somebody check out the rest of the car. And if you need a second opinion, bumpertobumperradio.com. There's a list of shops there that you can go to. They'd be able to walk you through that. We're going to go with Kiefer in Gilbert. He's got a 1995 Toyota Avalon. How can we help you? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, thanks, guys, for taking me on the air.
You bet.
Question. I have an automatic transmission, original, by the way, 304,000 miles, and it does a little clunk when I go from a dead stop into drive or reverse. And I was wondering if that's, normal for this age transmission or if it's telling me something.
Yeah, I think, you've got a transmission with 300,000 miles on it. It's like when I get out of bed in the morning, I'm slower than I was 10 years ago. So, I'm a little stiffer and things don't quite move right, but I still function. I'm still a functioning person.
Yeah.
I wouldn't chase an idiosyncrasy if I thought it was inside the transmission at 300,000 miles. But once somebody talks about clunks from park to reverse, park to drive, the first thing that comes to my mind is a problem with an axle or mounts, engine mounts.
Yeah.
So you could be, guessing the worst, and people guess the worst all the time. I know I need a transmission, something's acting up, and it just may be a matter of motor mounts. So they're made of rubber. Eventually they deteriorate, and eventually things start shifting around there. So I think I would be looking at that first. But if it's a little clunky and it's at that age, don't spend any money on it. Just continue to drive it, maybe service it, that type of thing. So anyhow, we're going to go with Drew. He's got a 1978 F-150. How can we help you, Drew? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I got a 1978 F-150 with 79,000 original miles.
Nice.
And it's been sitting for about 20 years.
Wow.
And it's got the R12 system in it, and I was thinking about going to a 134A. Should I replace everything in that system just because it's, one, been sitting, and two, because I want to switch over for maybe more efficient systems?
I was born in 77, so I can't answer this question. This is a 78. It just doesn't.
My answer is no. Find somebody that's got some R12 and keep it R12. The R12 was actually more efficient, and
it was a good
will work
refrigerant.
better. Yeah, it'll work way better than if you try to convert that one.
And there was a lot of conversion talk. You remember when it first came around, the 134A and the R12 was no longer going to be available, and so people were converting systems. And
only a handful of them actually worked. The rest of them didn't work worth a darn.
Yeah, some of you, once in a while, you get a setup that worked out, and the guy would brag about it and tell everybody about it, so everybody was thinking, hey, do we convert this AC system?
Yeah.
That's a sweet car, though, a 78 Ford truck with 78,000 miles on it, I think he said, or 79,000 miles.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a real clean one-owner cream puff.
I don't know where you steal R12 anymore, though. It may be hard to come by, but it's better if you can leave it that way.
Right. They should give us a little bit for these old antique cars. So, anyhow, the rules have really changed in air condition, and we talk about that all the time on this show. So, I used to ask my grandfather questions about fixing cars, and he's not with us anymore. But if I had to ask him today, he would just scratch his head. He would have no idea what was going on. So, anyhow, if there was something in the show that you want to hear again, or you missed, or caught the tail end of, you can go to bumpertobumperradio.com. All of our shows are up there. The other place you can find a podcast, in the Apple Store. So they're free download. Listen to it on your phone. I listen to podcasts when I ride my bike. It kind of helps my mind work. So anyhow, if you're looking for a shop to start a relationship with, maybe you're new in town and you don't have one, or maybe you've been what I would call an orphan customer going shop to shop to shop, it's time to make a change. You don't go to a different pediatrician every time you take your kid to the doctor. You find one, get a relationship, stick with them. You can find that type of shop at bumpertobumperradio.com. That's bumper2to bumperradio.com, and we'll see you next week.